So let's move from the networking thing to you've worked in tech companies. So before Knowledge Pillars, which is all about training and giving people the knowledge they need and the certification in a lot of these tech skills, whether it's, I know you have like various programming languages and a lot of different IT specialties, but you have worked in various companies, Amazon Web Services. We mentioned way back, we started at WordPerfect. Right. And it seems like in those corporate roles, you have been focused on certification and training. And so I'm curious, in the tech world, what is the connection between skill and signal there? Because I know this is an imperfect thing. I like to use an analogy. If you're buying a house and your realtor asks you for a wish list, you give them 10 things you want, but they know that they're probably going to find a house that doesn't have a couple of those, but maybe it has a couple things you didn't expect. So like, these are not perfect. So like a certification, like we're looking to hire somebody, they need certain skills and we don't know how to describe it except to say, how about you have to achieve this certificate? And we know that those are like imperfect metrics, but we're always trying to find better ones. So in the corporate world, what are companies looking for in terms of IT and tech roles for certifications? Like these seem to be changing all the time. Once upon a time, it was a CS degree. Now is it a boot? Like what is the current philosophy there?
Okay, so let me respond in this context, Isaac, that for the last 30 years, I have been in roles connecting the tech industry to students in education for a very specific reason. Industry is not satisfied and has not been satisfied for a decade around the quality of potential future tech worker that is coming out of the education system, whether that's from high schools or colleges, community colleges, with the rare exception that there is a lot more satisfaction with what's happening coming out of the tech and community college system than the university systems across the globe. Okay. The reason for that, I'll get to it. I think the key here is that while college and degrees and high school degrees prove that students can do hard things, that they can endure, that they can work hard, that they can finish things, it does not necessarily prove that they know how to do or utilize the tools and technologies that industry demands to be successful in the commercial marketplace. So that's why certification, which is, let me define that. Certification is nothing more than industry defining the technical skills required to be successful in the workplace and validating that independent of the education system itself. We're not relying on the educator or the school or the college to test it. We are providing our own certifications from industry to be used in education to validate skills, competency in the tech. And it's been a critical project going on for decades, trying to meet the need, this insatiable need, especially in tech, around people that have potential candidates for jobs that actually have proven skills in a given technology or suite of technologies. So that's what my job has been for almost 33 years now. Yeah, I've been in leadership roles for over 25 in these different types of companies. My most recent one was with Amazon, where I brought an e-learning based tech and certification solution into education. And now I'm the CEO of Knowledge Pillars, focusing specifically on coding and web development technical skills for students.
Yeah, I love what you said there, that it's not a certification that's you go through the education system and then the education system says, based on our standards, we're going to say you did good or bad or in between. You're going to industry and saying, what is it that you need as a minimum or whatever's going to signal goodness, greatness, and then educating to that. And I think it's so funny that we approach it this way. And I understand education is about a lot of things. It's not only about preparation for a career, but preparation for a career is a very large part of what we are looking for in an education for our kids, for ourselves, so that we can gain skills that can help us create value and have a meaningful and successful life. And if you look at that and say, okay, I want this thing called a career, instead of saying what's needed to get that, we just sort of say, okay, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff and hope that hirers like it, right? Instead of going and asking and saying, hey, what are you actually valuing right now? It's funny. I had so many young people over the years that I've helped in two previous companies to get jobs say, well, no one will hire me because I don't have a degree. And I'm like, well, have you asked? And they said, well, the job listing says degree required. And I said, look, I've literally helped hundreds of people without degrees get jobs that said degree required. And they're like, how? So, well, you go and you ask them what things are the most valuable, what employers are the most valuable. Then you learn from that. And we have this amazing opportunity today that you didn't used to have pre-digital era, the ability to show your work, to
Yes.
build things that demonstrate value. So like I would place people mostly in non-technical roles. So say a marketing role, and I would tell them, if you apply for a job, but instead of just doing the online application, you also email directly the hiring manager and say, hey, I saw this job. Sounds really cool. By the way, I built a little landing page for you with a 5 email drip sequence for anyone who opts in, and just kind of like to demonstrate what I can do. And here's a little video of me walking through.
Yeah.
They'll see that and they'll say, I got to interview this person. And they won't ask about your degree, right? Because you have the ability to demonstrate. So, and obviously your GitHub repository, if you're committing code, if you're building projects, it's like you can be your own credential in a way that wasn't possible before.
I want to add a couple of things to that. I think that this opportunity to prove your skills with tools other than a degree, like a certification or a portfolio and things like that, are the future. In fact, it's now. Most companies, most tech companies globally, have reached a saturation point with the standard bachelor's degree qualification requirement. They're finding that students that come out with those degrees lack practical skills, lack problem solving skills, lack critical thinking skills, and they're having to spend literally hundreds of millions of dollars every year for US companies alone, retraining or training the student for the first time for skills needed for entry level positions, Isaac. So this idea of the importance of building out your own portfolio of skills and proven things that you've done or built, whether that be websites, e-commerce capability, marketing services, technical skills, GitHub sites showing your web micro applications, whatever it is, super important to employers right now. Now, on the side note, another area that we're trying to solve is that oftentimes, even then, employers still have to go about validating, did that student actually build that? Was it really them?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we live in that kind of world right now. And so another power of certification from a third party is the validation that that student not only built those things, here's a third party evidence that that student actually can code, for example, or can build a web application, validated by a third party in the commercial sector that says, we assess their live in the software capabilities. That's what Knowledge Pillars is about. We're validating on behalf of the individual. Not only do they have the skills, but look, here's their portfolio. The two of those things together make it so easy for a hiring decision from a tech company. That's what they're asking for.
Oh, I love that combination because, let's just say pre-digital era. I mean, most eras in human history, the time required to validate someone's claims was so extreme, which is why you needed some kind of third-party signal. So if I come to you and say, hey, I'm really smart and talented and trustworthy, you can't hire a private eye to follow me around for 3 months and see if that's true. But if you say, oh, the University of North Carolina said that, and they have a good reputation, so I'm going to trust that. Exactly. So that's, the basic signaling. Over time, as that signal became more and more inflated, and what that university is doing to decide whether they should put the stamp is all behind a black box. It's all secretive. It's like, well, what did you do there to earn that degree? There's no transparency. And so having the combination, like, here's what I did. I can show you, we can open it up and I can show you what I built. And I have this third party. So if you don't want to go in and validate it all yourself, you don't have to. But if you're at all suspicious, you can. And I think that's that great medium, because if you're looking at applicants for a job, you don't have the time to validate everything. Okay, this is great. Sorry, I'm rambling, but a great little test of this. So I had a previous company that we just could never get it big enough, but we had basically video pitches. It was like a builder of skills profiles and pitches for job seekers. And on there, we would have them list the tech tools that they knew how to use. And so it might be simple stuff, or it might be like, Zapier or WordPress. And then we had a little button that said, watch me prove it. And you could upload a little video, a screen share of you demonstrating your knowledge of that tool. And what's interesting is if you put a video on there, the hiring managers took that as, they didn't even watch the video. But the fact that you were willing to put one there and that meant that you knew that someone could watch it. They were like, cool, good enough. I don't need to watch your 10-minute video, but I believe you. So like, I think it's that combination of like, if you want to look under the hood, I'm not scared of that, but you can also trust me because I've put the certification on it.
I think you're just nailing my point about the importance of that third-party validation and the importance of validation of the individual's actual skills, right? That it wasn't just done in collaboration with some experts or as a team or a group, that they did it together, that this kid or this student actually has those skills. Another challenge I would just bring up right now about college degrees and also certifications is that it's become more of a problem actually for certifications in the recent decade, is that it's all been about knowledge transfer. It's been about can you memorize? Can you memorize information and knowledge about a technology or about a skill set? And a lot of certifications actually have devalued the usefulness of third-party credentials because they're only memorizing knowledge. So an important change that's taking place is this practical competency-based assessment where the student is actually being assessed in the technology live during the exam, right? The ability to see, can this person actually code in Python in a time-sensitive, high-pressure, high-stakes exam? Can they actually develop on WordPress? Can they go in the tool and complete tasks while in a testing environment? And enabling those live, real-world, hands-on testing environments, validating that skill set, takes the value of the certification from here to here in the minds of an employer. I know what that certification is. I know that they could not pass it unless they could actually code. I know that it was actually proctored by a third party. So I know nobody could have influenced the outcome. That's the validation I need. And that will differentiate that student from another applicant that just has GitHub.
Yeah.
Just saves the time for the employer. So that's what we're trying to accomplish at Knowledge Builders, is supporting the student in that way.